everyone, Steph here from HB Integrative Yoga at hbiyoga.com, here to talk to you about how to use yoga to bias your vestibular system in order to overcome dizziness and imbalance. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about grounding. I allude to it in a lot of my other videos, but I wanted a home base for you to come back as a reference to learn a little bit more about visual grounding and using your somatosensory system to ground yourself. So when we talk about grounding, we're talking about using our three main balance system. Our eyes, our visual system, so capturing what's coming in through our eyes from our environment, our vestibular system, which is our inner ear, and then the somatosensory system, which is the feeling of the floor against our feet or the chair against our bottom, whatever we're touching, that's going to give us information of where we are in space. So let's start with visual system, because that's used more frequently when you hear the word ground yourself. Especially in the yoga community, you'll hear use your drishti. So that is just a fancy word to say, or Sanskrit word to say, to visually ground yourself. So using something to focus on in the environment to give you information of where you are in space using your eyes. Generally speaking, most yoga instructors will say look at a point on the floor about 6 to 7 feet in front of you. That usually gives you a really good point of reference of where you are in space, but you can really use anything. The best things to use are something small, something that has specific edges, not just a big broad wall, but if you can find a spot on the floor, a fleck of dirt on the floor, or if you're looking up at the wall or looking up at the ceiling, if you can find some abnormality that will give you something to pinpoint your vision on instead of just a broad big wall. It doesn't give you as good of visual information. So if I'm doing a yoga posture and I want to use visual grounding to my advantage, I'll show you tree. I'm trying to get up here and I'm wiggling all around, but if I'm looking down at a spot 6 feet in front of me and keeping that gaze, not breaking that visual contact, that's giving me constant information of where I am in space using my visual system. We can use this when we add movement as well, but you usually need to stop to actually pinpoint that spot. So it's hard to use drishti if you're just moving your head all around. In other videos when I talk about moving your head left to right in order to stimulate your visual or your vestibular system, I talk about using pit stops, which will help bring down some of that dizziness and help you ground yourself. So if I'm doing a pit stop technique, I think I made that up, but if I'm taking pit stops, you'll look at one place, I'm finding my drishti, I'm finding my grounding point, and then I'll move about 5 feet from there, and from there, and I'm just moving my visual cues in an arc. So you move a little bit and then you find your drishti, and you can do that with anything. You can do that with looking down and looking up as well. Okay, so that's visual grounding. That's more commonly used, but I also wanted to talk about using your somatosensory to ground yourself. This is really helpful. You can do it in any position, just like visual grounding, but it's using a different balance system. It's using your somatosensory system. If I'm doing it in standing, then I'm tuning into the information that I'm getting from the floor to my feet. We get all this information coming in all the time, but if we're distracted or if we're overwhelmed, if we're dizzy, off balance, sometimes it's hard to utilize all that information to our greatest benefit. So that's what we're doing. We're going to really hone in on it so we can use it to keep our balance, to center ourselves, to decrease anxiety, to improve our balance. If I'm doing it with both feet, just standing here, I like to first bring people through step by step, feeling different parts of your feet and then adding it all together. First thing I'll do is say press down into your big toe on your right foot. Just feel what that feels like. And then go to my pinky toe, feel what that feels like. Go into my heel. I'm just going to the corners of my feet. And then the same thing on the left side. Okay, so I might have them do a couple rounds of that. If someone has peripheral neuropathy or something that's going to decrease your ability to feel from your skin, feel that sensation, then I'll advise you to use your visual system at first, or maybe always, but use your visual system to give you more feedback of, I'm pushing my toe down, what does that feel like? What can I feel? Maybe you can't feel the pressure on the bottom of your foot, but maybe you can feel that muscle pressing down, that muscle activating to tell you that you're pushing your big toe down, or now you're pushing your heel down. Whatever you can feel, hone into that, okay? So after I go through and systematically feel what it feels like to feel on the bottom of my toes, my big toe, my little toe, my heels, then I want to try to do it, but this time hold each sensation. So press down on the big toe, hold. Press down on the pinky toe while I'm doing the big toe, and then keep that pressure while I'm pressing into the heel. That way I'm maximizing the surface area that I'm utilizing. I'm firmly pressing down on all corners. I'm not just hanging out on the side of my foot, on the outside or the inside, or just on my toes, or rocking back on my heels. I'm having a nice firm base of support to get me ready to challenge my balance a little bit further, or just to ground me on where I am right now. So I went through all of it. Now I'm really pressing down. I feel more centered. We can use this in different positions. Again, going back to tree, not worrying as much about my drishti. Now I'm going to go through that practice and press down on my toe, on my big toe, and then my pinky toe, and then my heel. This is a nice technique if you're trying to transition to just standing like this, but you're having a hard time wobbling a lot. I'll have you use your kitchen counter or a chair and get yourself into that position. And then before letting go of my additional support, go through, ground, get that nice firm leg, all your muscles activated, and then try to bring your hands off your support and see if that helps. Usually helps a lot of people just hone into those systems that they might not have paid attention to that much before. So just utilizing all of your resources to the best of your advantage. You can also do this in sitting. Want to make sure, especially if you're short like me, that you sit close enough to the edge that you can put your feet firmly on the floor. If you're sitting back like this, obviously you're not utilizing that sensation to the best of your advantage because only my toes can reach. I'm going to get nice and firm on the floor, feel what my toes feel like, heels, and now I also get to utilize the sensation of my glutes, my butt on the chair, the back of my thighs. If you're taller, you can utilize the back of the chair. And this is nice if you're feeling really anxious and off balance and you just need something to bring you back to your center and just ground yourself. You can also use this in Shavasana when you're lying down on the ground and just use it as a body scan. So start with your head on the ground. What does it feel like to have the head on the back of the ground? Your shoulders, your shoulder blades, your glutes, all the way down to your feet. And you can use that to then check in and get yourself back centered and into your body. Okay? So that's all I wanted to talk about for grounding today. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below. If you think this will benefit somebody, please feel free to share the video. And if you're interested in learning more about this type of stuff, getting more free resources, or learning how to work one-on-one with me, please head over to hbiyoga.com for more information. Thanks, guys.